Well, the packaging for this WSI model starts off a little bit different because it comes in an outer shipping carton, and that does provide some extra protection to the WSI model box that's inside. As we pull that out, you can see it's the standard WSI model's box design, and this model is a Scania Streamline Highline with a Powfinger Hooklift and a 40 cubic metre container. It's a limited edition in the colours of Kim's Container Service, which is a company in Denmark. Out comes the model, and we are left with one part that has become detached during shipping, and it's a Scania wheel cover. No problem though, because we've got our old friend Superglue to help fix the problem. After that, there's no assembly to do because this model is complete out of the box. Underneath we go to look at the detail, and it's the usual high quality from WSI. The gearbox, transmission and suspension are modelled, and the tyres are different on the driven and steering axles. There's lots of detail on the roof of the cab, including beacon lights, air horns and other lights, and a light bar. And that distinctive Scania grille is modelled very well. There are tiny badges and lights, and there's also a realistic number plate. And the overall decoration and graphics is really good. There's also more high quality graphics on the side of the cab, and the overall effect is to give the model a very realistic look. The steps and tiny lights are modelled, and the wheel trims look very smart. There are nicely modelled fairings between the wheels, and there's some very nice diamond plating which is actually two-tone. The rear wheels also look equally smart. At the back there are nicely formed small lights and a towing hitch. There's a number plate and the mud flaps are rigid. Moving to the container, and it's a metal casting, and there's nice detailing of the door locks at the back. And also very nice are the working rollers at the bottom. Other detailing includes the representation of the ladder rungs. The hooklift mechanism is very good, and the ram jackets are plastic with Powfinger graphics. Moving to the functionality, and the wheels turn easily enough, and there is linked steering between the rear and front axles. If we try driving the truck along, it's not completely free rolling, and that's because of a little bit of looseness in the steering of the rear axle. The range of movement of steering is fairly restricted, as it often is, but at least it does give you a different posing opportunity, even if it doesn't want to stay set when driving the model along. Tilting the cab is performed in an easy action, and we can see that there is an engine underneath. It is plastic, and it's made up of a number of different coloured components. The cab closes with a nice slam dunk. The interesting functionality on this model is the hooklift, and the first thing we can do is just use it to tip the container, and it does well to achieve a good tipping angle. One weakness on the model though is the container, because it does not have opening rear doors, and that's a pity. It means the tipping pose is not realistic, and they're often loaded on the ground with the doors open. The other way that the hooklift mechanism works is that it can offload the container, and to do that the container moves to the back, and then the hooklift mechanism pushes it off the back end. The rollers at the bottom of the container help it slide along. Then when the container's on the ground, it can be unhooked. The mechanism works well enough on the model, but in one way you have to be a little bit careful, and that's because for some reason the pistons in the hydraulic rams are just a little bit too short. So it's easy for them to pop out of the ram jackets. It's not a big problem because it's easy enough to put the pistons back into the jackets, but it does seem that if the pistons had been perhaps half a centimetre longer, there would have been no problem at all. Anyway, back to unhooking the container, retracting the hooklift, and then the truck can drive away. This is a very nice looking limited edition model from WSI. Because of the hooklift mechanism, it gives you lots of different ways you can pose the model, and it's only a pity that the rear container doors don't open. But fans of Scania trucks will like it because of the way it looks, and overall it's very good.